Welcome to NBNR, the authority on unfiltered opinions and authentic player insight for Nebraska athletics. Connect with us on Twitter, Instagram, and at nbnrpodcast.com.
We have the saying, no block, no rock.
You know, we just really love Otter. He's a junkyard dog.
Kenny Bell ran up to me. He's like, you know what you just did?
Get mad when you going to get in the portal and go to another podcast?
You know, usually dumbbells are in pairs. They had 5 dumbbells.
Dang on it, Muhammad!
GBR.
Ready, no block, no rock, season 4, episode 32. Coming at you from the Nebraska Brewing Company Barrel Room, 108th and Harrison in La Vista, Nebraska, 68128. Seeing as NBC is one of our sponsors, let's get into the drinks that we are drinking real quick, fellas. Pickle fight all day, all night. Getting it in cans. I went to Hy-Vee. I got me a 6-pack of the pickle fight. It's beautiful. It's wonderful.
Does it taste?
Best beer on tap.
Oh, get out of here.
Does it
Yubbish.
Does it taste as good in cans as it does on draft?
Listen, either way. I'm gonna say I got your competitions. I'm not gonna say their name. I got your competition's version of pickle beer, and I'm not even trying to butter you up. Maybe just a little.
Just a little.
Your NBC's blows it out of the water. Your pickle spears just blow this competition's out of the water. It's not even close. So coming to the tap room, get you a pickle fight. What you got?
It feels good. I wasn't here last week. I know Evan Bland was on. I actually watched the interview. It was great. Evan Bland, shout out. Sorry I couldn't be here with you. But it feels good to be back here this week saying proudly that I am drinking the Pilsner. It feels good. All of you I watched talk about, we said that we might drink a Pilsner for him. You didn't. You said you might drink a Farrell's for me in my honor, and you didn't.
Blame Jared. He wanted pickle beer.
I just want to say, with all the love in my heart, fuck all you guys.
Yeah. I wouldn't want it to come from any other place besides your heart. Mike Delaware.
What up?
Hi. What are you drinking over there, buddy?
I started with the EOS, and then I did switch because our special guest, he wanted a good game, and it sounded good, so I got one too. It's a really good, light, easy drinking beer, so probably get another one of those at the break. KB, what you got?
KB.
I'm coming off of like a 15-hour travel day, and I needed water. I needed water so bad. I was covering Creighton women's basketball in Connecticut this weekend.
J-Sker.
Soft.
And so I just had to get water. I'm down so bad right now.
Yeah, you had a long couple days.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
At Sports.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Our special guest, Chris Kolarevic, former Nebraska linebacker. Black shirts. You claim that, right? Throw the bones, baby.
Throw them up there. Throw them up there.
What do you got in you're drinking good game?
Good game.
What do you think?
First time I ever tried it. It's very good. I will say, I'm not getting paid or anything. I just tried the pickle beer. I don't like pickles, and I don't even like. I drink beer sometimes, but I don't really like beer that much.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that.
Look at
that.
I told you I was drinking it, and you I think verbatim said, ugh.
Yeah.
And I said, drink it. And you said, no.
Yep,
and then you literally took a sip of it.
He literally just grabbed your beer. It's like, I just met this guy 5 minutes ago, and I'm just going to drink off what he had. He's
Hell
like,
yeah, baby.
I haven't been able to smell or taste in a while, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Chris, did they make you sign the waiver where I can use that clip in all my advertisements?
Done.
Yeah.
Verbal agreement right here.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right, guys, come to the Nebraska Brewing Company tap room. on any day except for Monday, because that's the day we're here.
It's
doing
NBNR Mondays.
Well, NBNR Mondays, doing business at the tap room, in the barrel room. All right, help me out. World class.
In every glass.
Okay.
And before we get too far, just one more announcement. Last week we announced that Benson Honey is a new sponsor for the podcast. Benson Honey is a small business in Nebraska that is as strong and resilient as the famous Cornhuskers. They take pride in producing high quality, locally sourced raw honey that is both delicious and healthy. Like the Cornhuskers, Benson Honey is dedicated to their craft and puts in the hard work and dedication needed to produce a top quality product. It's a small family-run Nebraska business, raw and unfiltered, just like your boys here at No Block, No Rock. And so it's a healthy sugar alternative, great to cook with, and great if you're sick. So just a shout out to those guys.
Shout out to our new sponsor, Benson Honey Farms. We will have at the break here, we'll have a promo code. If you use the promo code GBR, you'll get 20% off your first order. So,
really?
So,
yeah.
I'm getting on that for sure.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love honey. So
They've got honey, they got barbecue sauce.
They got that raw honey.
The raw, everybody likes the raw, right?
So good.
Yeah.
Legitimately not a part of the ad. I was talking about them the other day about how they were sponsoring the podcast. And one of my friends actually buys from Benson Honey. Apparently it's fantastic.
20% off.
Like
20% off if he uses GBR.
Genuinely very good.
Use the GBR because you're going to save money.
Well, duh.
And of course, if you use GBR, that shows that we took you there. NBNR sent you.
Yep.
So please do that. We got the ticker running on the bottom, right?
Yeah.
With the website.
Oh, yeah. Go to BensonHoneyFarms.com.
You're saving money to get a good product. It's stupid not to.
We love it.
Can't
49 people watching.
Let's go.
You just heard about the Benson Honey Farms. Let's go.
Okay. I know. Listen.
Housekeeping is done. We're ready to roll.
Yeah.
So yesterday was a packed day full of Husker sports. I'll just start with women's basketball. I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's rough.
Gee,
fuck Iowa.
Damn it.
Yeah.
Is that enough? Like, can we move on? No.
That's it.
I want to point out one big thing that I was on a flight during this most recent Husker women's basketball game, and I didn't get to see stats until I landed. And in the last two games that Husker women's basketball has played Iowa, they have held Caitlin Clark in two consecutive halves, the second half of the first game and the first half of this one, to single digits.
Yeah.
Right.
Caitlin Clark obviously goes off in the second half. I believe she had the 24, 26,
30.
30 in the second half.
It was
but in two consecutive halves, holding Caitlin Clark to single digits. Let's give those women their roses. They did a fantastic job. Took Iowa, not after beating them, took them to overtime in the Big Ten championship. Give them their roses.
I know. It's just
it sucks. Nobody likes Iowa.
It's just when you post on Facebook, people respond second. Fuck you. I know.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
Yeah, it was a heartbreaker.
Trolls?
It was a heartbreaker. Going into overtime, though, I knew it was a death sentence.
Yeah.
Like if they didn't finish that in regulation, it was over.
But so again, people commenting second. They took second to. I don't even think it's an argument anymore that Caitlin Clark is the best female collegiate basketball player of all time. I don't even think it's an argument.
I don't care.
Like
holds the record.
It's not about linning, boys and girls.
No,
tell you.
No. But so this isn't linning. I think that is such a cop out to call this linning.
No, let's not get into it.
Yeah, we don't need to go in circles. All right, women's basketball. Yeah, there's your roses. Go into the next thing.
Your roses. Damn. Okay. So Nebraska ball played at Michigan. They win by double digits, by 15 points. To start the game, Michigan's making everything.
Yeah,
Michigan cannot miss. Okay. Then you combine that with, okay, Nebraska's not exactly closing out as quickly as they should, right? And the next thing you know, Nebraska's up by like 7, and they just kind of cruise right along.
Yeah.
You know?
It's nice. Hey, Chris, were you a Michigan fan growing up?
I was a Michigan fan.
Ooh.
Are you a Michigan fan now?
I wouldn't say I'm a Michigan fan.
Yeah.
No.
You watch them from a distance. Watch them win national titles.
Speaking of Michigan, Chris, you're from Michigan. Is Michigan considered the Midwest?
Yes.
Okay, now hold on. You got to add on what you said earlier.
Yeah. No, tell the people what you told us before the episode started.
I said facetiously, I said,
there's the facetiously.
I said, Michigan is more Midwest than Nebraska.
Oh,
To preface, I've lived in Iowa and Nebraska, and I've lived in Michigan.
Right.
I'd say if I really had to define the Midwest, I'd say Michigan is right on the upper right corner of the Midwest.
So, not the Midwest, the upper right corner west.
You don't when you say Midwest, you don't define what part of the Midwest.
So
it's just part of the Midwest.
Hey, this is Mike's Hill.
To be honest,
this is Mike's Hill.
Hold on.
The people are very similar.
I would agree with that though. We left Ann Arbor saying Michigan has Midwest values.
It does,
but they're geographically not in the Midwest.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay,
so
done.
Oh, okay. Damn, Chris, I was about to agree with you. I was gonna say, no matter where you draw the line for what you consider Midwest, there's always gonna be an upper.
Hey, they are west of New York, so
I still stand by Michigan is just South Canada.
There is something to that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But like I was gonna stay by it. Yeah, like Mike said, they got Midwest values. I'll count it. It's a half point. It's a half point.
Well, now that Mike addressed he's just been wanting to ask that all. Ever since you lined this interview up, you've been.
No, I didn't.
I'm gonna ask him.
I didn't line this interview up. He was selling a TV on Facebook Marketplace, and I commented on it, and then I was like, "Oh wait, this guy. I know who this guy is. Let's see if he wants to come on our podcast." And then months later, he played in the CFL, and we got him lined up, and here he is.
Indeed. Here we are.
So
in the flesh.
That's commitment. Just saying.
Genuine question, because I know this isn't the first time. How many interviews have you lined up through Facebook Marketplace?
Looking at looking at just
like
buying shit. Buying shit.
I know this isn't the first one.
No, one was a garage sale.
Yeah,
buying shit.
We got Ken Kalen. I went to a garage sale, got Ken Kalen on the podcast, and I got Chris Kolarevic when he was trying to sell his TV in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Was it like a really big?
It was a nice TV.
It was a nice TV.
Was it?
Yeah,
Okay,
it was a nice. Did you sell it?
Keeping it.
You kept it?
Kept it.
Good.
Still use it every day.
That's what I'm talking about.
Mainly because Marketplace is just a cesspool. You can't sell anything because you've got guys like Mike.
We should talk about Marketplace real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
It is a cesspool.
Yeah.
And you got to respond to everybody, and maybe 1 out of 10 is actually a serious interest. Like you can't actually take anybody seriously on that app. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, will you take $2? I'm like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I will not
nuts.
take $2.
Like, well, the only way I'm going to buy it is if it's $2.
Okay.
Fuck off then.
I'll keep it and watch it.
Keep scrolling.
Gosh.
Would you trade for an $18 Costco gift card?
No.
That's 18 hot dogs, Kyle. I know you're making that deal.
Yeah, that is something you got to consider.
Yeah.
Anywho.
The Lizzie God.
Yeah.
Nebraska ball. You guys have any main takeaways from that game? What'd you take away from it?
Took care of business.
Yep.
You know what I take away? A 3 seed.
Yeah.
3 seed.
Huge.
Projected to finish 12th in the league at the beginning of the season. Finished as a 3 seed with a double bye.
Yep.
Fred Hoiberg, coach of the year in the Big Ten, locked it up.
Yep.
I hope so.
Who's second? I don't know.
I don't know how
I don't care.
couldn't give him coach of the year.
Well, there's Purdue.
Yeah.
No,
but
stop.
Purdue was projected. Like everyone knew they were going to be in that position.
Matt Painter.
Nobody in their right mind thought that this Nebraska team would be where they were.
No, not at all. Matt Painter.
And look at what he's working with.
Hot take. Most overrated basketball coach in the nation? Maybe. Think about it. Get back to me.
Yeah.
Tell our listeners, give me shit if I'm wrong, but Matt Painter, overrated.
Hubert Davis.
Hey, Chris, did you ever attend any basketball games when you were at Nebraska?
Yeah, I went to one. Had to.
Just to one?
Yeah, just to one.
What game was it?
I think it was Purdue. I think it was a Purdue game.
Yeah.
Okay.
We probably lost, huh? Yeah.
That was before this year.
Yeah, it was not
So,
this year.
Yeah.
They probably lost then. But yeah, he locked it up. So they're more than likely going to play Indiana. So I think it's a pretty favorable matchup. And they're a lock in the tournament now. Casey goes off. God, how many points did he have? 30 on the nose?
Yeah.
Love it.
I have to ask you, Jared, because I was not here this last week. Were you wearing the Casey jersey with the Japanese across the back?
It wasn't Japanese across the back. It was just like a kind of a winter themed.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like a Toronto type jersey.
No, I had seen that design with a Japanese across the back, and I wanted to buy one. They sold out in like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
So I was going to be very jealous if that was what you were wearing, but it was the same design. It's a tight jersey. I love it.
Yeah, I thought it was fitting.
Yeah,
to wear.
It did fit you
because he was coming off senior night and he put on a show.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not saying to retire as 30, but I feel like they need to do something in that arena with Casey. I don't know what.
I've listened to like Sean Callahan and those guys talking about retiring his jersey, and like Sean says yes, and then you've got Sipple that's like, no way, that people got way better stats and all this other stuff. I don't know what the argument is in regards for or against, but
I can tell you what it is. You win a tournament game.
Okay.
Casey's getting hung up.
So
you got Teron Lou up there. I'm sorry. How many tournament games we win with Teron Lou? 0.
Fucking 0.
I wouldn't even say win one tournament game. And I can't decide which it is, whether it's Sweet 16 or God forbid the Elite 8.
Jesus Christ.
God forbid.
Yeah.
Dude, but so
see, he gets
we're talking retiring a jersey. This isn't like retiring a jersey is not like, hey, you played well. Retiring a jersey is you've changed a program. There is a line.
Here's what I say.
Winning one game in the tournament is not enough for me to say, yeah, let's retire.
I got it.
Sweet 16, and I consider it Elite 8. You lead a team to the Elite 8, retire that goddamn jersey. But like,
I got it.
Winning one game in the tournament, no.
Dude, we're the worst.
No.
You win one game in the tournament. Here's what needs to happen. Okay. Outside of PBA, you know how there's a Tom Osborne, Brooke Behringer statue?
Yeah.
Hoiberg, Tominaga.
No.
Hoiberg, Casey.
No. Casey going like this.
Tell me that wouldn't be fucking awesome.
It would be awesome, but winning
Do
one game does not get you a statue.
Yes, it does.
No, it
when
doesn't.
you're the worst basketball program in Power 5 history, yeah, it does.
You want to glorify being the worst?
Well, no, just the landmark of getting over it.
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
who led you.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that's what
anyways,
that's what
we have a former Husker linebacker with us. Let's talk football.
All right, go
they
on.
got their roses.
They got their roses. Shout out to a good weekend of Husker athletics, right?
Yeah.
And
well,
baseball.
hey, Nebraska baseball 9-4, third in the RPI now. They moved up.
Let's go.
Hey, GBRBI.
Yeah, GBRBI.
They had a lot of those. And their pitching gave up a lot of those too. But not the GBR kind, just the bad kind.
Yeah.
Hey, but did they win?
2 out of 3.
That counts.
That's all. That's what you should do.
Dub. Yep.
Win 2 out of 3. That's taking care of business right there.
Yep.
All right.
Roses, roses, roses.
That's right. Just give them all.
I didn't buy
You get
enough.
a rose. You get a rose. Chris Kolarevic, I have a question for you.
Shoot.
What was more satisfying, blocking the punt against Indiana or the game-clinching interception at Iowa?
That's an easy question. That's almost too easy of a question. What? The Iowa pick. Yeah.
I just figure for block punts.
It was very satisfying though. Like the actual when the ball hits your hands.
That's what I'm saying.
And it felt crazy.
You lay out.
It feel crazy.
It doesn't happen all that often.
No.
You're laying out, and that
crazy.
ball hits your hand, and then you return it for a touchdown? Well, not you, but
Yeah, the team did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you helped make it happen.
Yeah, it felt crazy. Like it kind of hurts. Like the ball hitting your hand. It's like right there. It kind of hurts, but it feels so good.
Yeah.
And you hear the whole crowd going crazy. Yeah, that was special.
Okay, so in regards to the interception, is it like NCAA 14? Hey, shout out coming back this year.
Yeah,
where
coming back.
the field flips, where you feel like this whole momentum, like everything just slows down and you've got it in your hands.
It was so slow. It was crazy how it happened.
for real?
It was crazy how it happened. Yeah. I mean, because I think it was 3rd or 4th down, one of the two. And they're driving, they're down a touchdown, they're trying to score, and they had to get to the sticks. So I pretty much dropped to the sticks because I'm like, they're going to throw something here. So I dropped. I'm just looking at the quarterback. I'm basically looking at his eyes. Like I'm almost making eye contact with the guy. I'm just sitting at the sticks, and I see a receiver over here in my peripheral, and I'm like, all right, and then I see it coming over the line of scrimmage. I'm like, I'm just sitting there almost, like just waiting for it to come.
You're like, this is too easy.
Yeah. Almost. I was almost too easy, but yeah, it was.
This is Power 5 football. Okay.
So I have to ask in that moment, or I guess after that moment, and you don't have to repeat them if you did you have any words?
No words. I went straight to the teammates.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah, because that was a crazy moment for me because I had actually played at that stadium before my freshman year at UNI. We played Iowa, and we got killed. Like it was not a good game. And that was my second game I ever played at UNI. I was a freshman. And so it was real full circle for me to come back and then beat them in that game. So it was a crazy feeling for me personally, and then for the team if they won that game, they would have gone to the Big Ten championship. So to be able to take them out of that game was a cool moment.
I mean, you're leaving out the best part. You broke it felt like 100-year streak of Iowa beating Nebraska.
That too.
Yeah.
And you are the one who sealed it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Like the pain of just losing to, in my opinion, still our little brothers on the East. But I mean, they own the bragging rights again. They did take care of business in that ugly ass game on Black Friday. But no, like you guys did something that hadn't been done in 7 years.
Mm-hmm. You will always have that.
Yeah.
Yes, we will. We were not, when I was there, we did not have very good teams overall. It was, as far as wins go.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will always have that.
Yeah.
So after that, you said your freshman year at UNI.
Yeah.
Your second game was Iowa. Is that correct?
Game.
So getting that interception, did that make it more special?
For sure it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just felt like
because last time I was
redemption?
on that field, I was a kid. I was 17. I was a kid.
You were 17?
Maybe 18. I might have been 18.
Either
I
way.
was a
Still.
I was a redshirt freshman, so I think I was 18, but I was a kid. Like I was, yeah. Like just so to come back, I'm 22 when I got the pick. It was completely different. Yeah. It was very full circle for me.
Yeah, like an evolution. Yeah.
Yes,
Development.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So Northern Iowa.
Yeah.
Transfer from there.
Go Panthers.
Hell yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Again,
I'll take it.
we talked about earlier unis. Those purple and black are pretty tight.
Not bad.
Yeah, they're not
Not
bad.
bad.
So, I mean, you came in technically as a pretty experienced guy, been around the block a few times, for a while. What would you say, you get into a game, either, you're in Memorial Stadium or some other Big Ten stadium. Did you have like a welcome to the big leagues moment?
Did I have a welcome to the big leagues moment?
Like get popped or something.
I'm here.
Yeah.
And either it was really cool
honestly, my welcome to the big leagues moment when I played Iowa, when I was at UNI, like that second game.
That's fair.
Because I'll tell you, we played that O-line. They had Wirfs, they had Hawkinson, they had Fant.
Holy shit.
And so I was out there getting.
He said they got killed
a couple times. Like Hawkinson got me. TJ got me a couple times. And that was really my welcome to college football moment.
Did you get him?
Yeah.
I did get him one time. I got by him and made a tackle. Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
But twice he got me. I did not save that film. It was
No,
Well, when you say
immediate delete.
When you say he got you, I mean, are we talking like?
I mean, I'm talking
depancing.
Like one of them, I was running the guy down. The ball went to the sideline. He got the edge. I'm running him down, and I did not see. It was legal at the time. The blindside block. It's not legal anymore.
Right.
It was like a classic. Would have gotten flagged today. Block where my feet went off the ground.
Front backflip.
It was a whole thing. Oh man.
And that was TJ?
That was TJ.
But so like looking back on it, it's got to feel like you can't feel too bad about that. Like it's TJ Hawkinson.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
but it still sucked.
I mean, I'm sure it sucked, but like
sure.
if TJ Hawkinson did that to me, I might literally die.
Yeah.
Like, he might actually kill me.
But he's a D1 athlete, and you look at you.
Okay, well, I did beat a D2 track star in a race. She just lies about it.
Yeah.
Funny.
Yeah. Well, and all the witnesses, myself included, would say that you lost.
She smoked you.
Okay, first it was a half step. Second, the cameras were at a bad angle. The wind was blowing in my face.
We'd been drinking all day.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm really fast. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Talking about UNI, and so you played at the FCS level at UNI, and then you made the jump to the FBS at Nebraska. Can you talk about the differences between the two leagues? And is there, like, from what I've heard about FCS, is like they have the speed. It's just more like the linemen and the size of guys. Is that true? Or
For me and my situation specifically, I played in the Missouri Valley Conference
Yep.
in the FCS, so it's kind of known for their trenches.
Yeah.
And we had maybe three O-linemen get drafted. Two O-linemen get drafted at UNI. First 3 rounds, both of them. So I played against really good O-linemen, and then I played against a bunch of guys that had got drafted. So the trenches to me weren't different. the biggest difference for me, I think, was the depth. Like there was just a lot more. Like they shuffle guys in and out here, so everybody's more fresh during the games. But talent-wise, I didn't think it was crazy different.
Okay. I like
Okay.
that.
There was a lot of differences, but the talent specifically, I did not think was from where, because when I left UNI, we were the number 2 team in the country going into that COVID year that got canceled. We had I don't know 4 or 5 guys that moved up to the FBS. We had, I want to say, 4 draft picks on that team. We had a really good team. Like we had a nice team.
Well, nobody wants to schedule you and I. Like I was saying that when you first got here, it was
I think Nebraska's playing them.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
But like that's a team that FBS schools are very hesitant because they have beat the Iowas and Iowa States of the world.
Iowa State to triple overtime.
Yeah, I remember that.
When they had Purdy.
Yeah,
that was a crazy game. But yeah, just from the team that I came from specifically, I did not think the talent was that different because I think it was more I think that's more props to UNI than it is degrading Nebraska or anything.
No, I agree. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So you say going into that COVID season that ultimately gets canceled, you had this incredible team. How frustrating is that as a player, knowing you've worked so hard? You have this group that, you are taking down the Iowa States of the world, and you're ranked number 2 in the country.
It was crazy frustrating. It was unbelievable.
What was that like? Like, how did you handle that? How did you continue to move forward, developing?
That was actually when I went in the portal. So season got canceled, and then I went in the portal pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're like, yeah, well, if I'm not going to get to play football, I'll go somewhere else.
That's pretty much how it went. Yeah.
I'm assuming there's a lot of guys that did that then.
A good amount. Yeah. That was kind of when the team because we had 2 draft picks that year. 3 of us went in the portal, moved up. Like it was, the team kind of disbanded, but we had that team was like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Was there did that provide you with any, was that ammunition? We were number 2 here. I can move up. I can get better. I can go to this next level. Not necessarily
for me,
next level.
I kind of wanted to move up. Not kind of. I did want to move up the whole time I was there. I had a plan where I'm going to graduate, because at the time, when I first got to college, the portal wasn't a thing. So you had to grad transfer. So I graduated in 3 years from UNI, and I did want to transfer from since I got there. And I knew I had to get better as a player. So I got a lot of experience as I was playing. So as I was playing, I was like, okay, I could go up. So not that specifically, but being around that type of talent day to day and working out with them in the weight room, going against them in practice every day, and then playing teams who also had NFL talent, I was like, okay, I can do this.
Yeah. So moving up to, Power 5 football and getting recruited by Nebraska. I mean, who was your main recruiter? Was that Chins or who was kind of working that with you?
Chins was the first one that called me, and it was a conference call with him and Frost.
Okay.
So when you get here, I mean, what was your initial impression of, you're from Northern Iowa, so it wasn't like a huge culture shock or anything like that.
But it was completely everything I ever wanted. Like I had dreamed of playing in the Big Ten since I was a kid. It was my goal. It was my goal was to go play in the Big Ten, get a scholarship at a Big Ten school and play in the Big Ten. And it was like, damn, I just made it here. I just did this. And then you get here and they're giving you gear. They're giving you stuff every day, and then you give you food, things. They're just handing things out to you all day, every day. Whereas at UNI, it would be you get a sweatshirt, and everybody would be everybody would wear it for the next month. And you see everybody in class, and all 100 kids on the team had the sweatshirt on because it was the only sweatshirt we got in 2 years. In 2 years, we got one sweatshirt. So we get our workout gear, and then we get a sweatshirt every once in a while. So it was just a completely different type of program. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say, I think we would be remiss. What are we at?
We've got a couple minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We would be remiss if we didn't mention the firing of your head coach, Scott. And look, we bleep the name. I know you're a former player, so you might not appreciate that too much. But I guess my question for you is you go to Ireland, just like this guy.
Yeah.
And there's that infamous play, right? The onside kick. And at the time, it's like, shit.
I was on the field.
Yeah.
I'll say it. I was on the field. Opposite side of the field, but I was on the field.
What do you even ask? I mean, do you ask if the kicker improvised?
Okay.
Was it a call?
So actually, it was, I'm not going to sit here and say it was a smart call, but it should have worked.
Yeah, it should have. You are right.
If you watch the film where the guy kicked it, or where he was supposed to kick it, it was a little bit off.
Yeah.
And where he was supposed to kick it, we saw that one of their front line guys was leaving early. So when we saw that he was leaving early, not seeing the ball kicked. So he had left early, and we noticed that. So we called it, and that was like the plan. Like we knew we were going to call it. The practice, we had practiced it.
Oh, you
We
scouted it and
we
everything.
knew we were going to do this. So we went into halftime. We're up 2 touchdowns, I think. And they called it because they knew the guy left. And we watched film. He did leave, but they kicked it to the wrong guy.
Yeah.
That was really what happened.
Yeah. Had it gone more towards the sideline,
Yes.
it's our ball.
It's our ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I have a question. Looking back, and obviously hindsight 2020. Do you call that play again?
Do I call that play? I don't know what I've never been a coach, so I don't know.
Neither have I.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to speak on that, but I see why they called it.
Okay. That's actually
it's frustrating that it didn't go our way, but also we were up 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
so it's like,
there was still a lot of football left, man.
Yes, that play gets all the blame.
Yes.
But there's a lot of stuff that happens.
Yeah.
No, that's super fair. And that's actually like probably the best explanation I've got.
And that's kind of boring. That's kind of the boring way to say it. Like you want us to say like, oh, like we lost again because of that.
No.
Like,
Right.
But yeah, it's kind of boring to just say like, it was, but that's my honest opinion is probably should have worked. It was I get why they called it and it just didn't go our way.
Yeah. I think looking at those years, it was once something like bad happened, it kind of snowballed every time.
Basically.
Like even at home, something bad happened where a punt gets kicked to the wrong side of the field and it gets returned Michigan State.
I was on the field.
Yeah, like so did
you know what?
Are you cursed?
Yeah.
Is that what we're
You in special teams, Chris. I don't know.
That play. I could tell a story about that play too.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
So they call it was Reno, so right.
Okay.
Everybody knows it's right. It's red Reno, so we're cutting it right. So everybody on the field is going to the right. Like I block my guy and then I release and I go to the right.
It's
And
Reno.
And then so they had 2 returners back.
Oh no.
So I'm running down and then I kind of see the returner over there like catch the ball. I'm like,
You're like,
oh no.
Yeah.
So I look and there's nobody. So I start booking it and I got him. I kind of like almost touched him at the pylon. I was like kind of right there, but yeah, that was a really bad feeling when you see him and then you look and there's nothing but
man.
geez,
God.
yes.
So Reno, right? What are you calling for
What's
left?
left? Yeah.
What was it?
Leno.
No, it wasn't. It was
Reno and Linda.
I'm blanking on it. It wasn't even an L word.
Oh, really?
So
No, it wasn't.
was Reno right because it started with an R?
Yeah,
And
but
then
then-
literally whatever else was just left.
Yeah,
If it didn't
yeah,
start with an R, it was
basically.
left.
Yeah, basically that was
Dingus.
what it was. Yeah, I think we might have even switched it up. I don't even remember. I don't remember exactly what it was.
But it wasn't left.
It
Like,
wasn't
don't
left.
put it left.
It definitely wasn't left. And the emphasis for a while was, hey, don't you need to go right. Right. The emphasis in practice was we're not looking at the ball. We're not looking at the
head down, go.
So a lot of times teams will try and fool you with the other returner, right?
Yep.
So they'll try and act like he's catching the ball, like he'll fair catch it or something, and
Mm-hmm.
then it'll be the other side. So like, don't look at the other returner, like stare at the returner. And so that's what everybody was doing.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So I guess what are we at?
We're at a good break time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like,
We're gonna get further into this.
oh, we will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
just fun stuff.
I'll just close us out with like, kind of reminds me a little bit about the rule discussion and certain plays that are called and his comment about, hey, we're gonna make the call. We need the players to execute the damn play.
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
But then part of it is knowing the personnel that you have and knowing what to call and what not to call and all that shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, it sounds like Chris, you were executing the play perfectly.
You did fine, Chris.
Do your
Reno.
job. DYJ, do your job. I was doing my job.
Yeah, and
Yes,
you
sir.
almost
Yes,
you almost
sir.
cleaned up some shit too.
And I was hustling too.
You were
I was
hustling.
out there. So.
Yeah.
He did all he could, okay?
All right, we're going to take a quick break. In the meantime, go to bensonhoneyfarms.com. Go buy Nebraska's best honey. We will be back in 5 minutes.
how would you say your mental focus is?
Oh, it's focused. I haven't, look.
Cash rules everything around me. Green, get the money. Dollar bill, yo. We have the saying, no block, no rock.
Thanks, Joe. And thanks, Troy.
How come I never get a thanks?
Thanks, Kyle.
Kyle.
Hey, thanks for being here, right?
Yeah.
Kyle, it's implied.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
It's implied. So we kind of left off talking about some of the more infamous plays of recent Husker history. You know, the onside kick and the punt return at Michigan State, which, you know, kind of leads me to this next question about, you know, after the firing of Scott, you don't need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
How would you describe the vibes of the locker room after, you know, that Georgia Southern game? A couple hours later, the firing happens. Just what were the vibes of the locker room at that time?
We weren't in the locker room.
Okay. Well, you know what I mean? The team, you know.
It's like the morale.
The morale. That Georgia Southern game was brutal. That one was brutal. Because I think it was like a record amount of yards.
Yeah, it was.
History of that stadium to Georgia Southern. That was brutal. Kind of figured it was coming because it happened the next morning. So we come in the next morning, nothing's happened yet. We're like, all right, we're going to go to meetings. So we're all in our meeting rooms, and then we get a text saying, oh, he's getting fired. So then they bring us into the big team meeting room, and he comes in, says his piece, whatever, says bye. And then Mickey comes in, and he's all guns blazing. There's no hesitancy from him. We got to go. We got to go play. Who were we playing? Was it Indiana? It was Indiana.
I think so.
So they go, we got to go play Indiana on Saturday. Like, let's go. Like, we don't have time to mourn. We got to go. So he completely came.
Wasn't
in
it
and
Ohio
changed
State?
the vibes.
Or
No, we didn't.
No,
play
it wasn't
Ohio
Ohio
State that year.
State.
No, I thought it was like a big game that we were like Oklahoma. It was Oklahoma.
It was Oklahoma.
Yeah, it was Oklahoma.
It was
It
Oklahoma.
was a
And
big
then we had
game where I was
bye,
like,
and then we had a bye, and then we played Indiana.
Yeah.
It was Oklahoma.
Yeah, because I was like, I thought it was a big game where it was like,
He
God, we
comes
probably
in.
weren't going to win anyways.
Mhm.
But then all this stuff happens, and it's like, what do you expect the team to do? They had like, you guys had like 3 days to prepare after all
He
that.
comes in and he starts calling people out. Like he starts calling assistant coaches out. He starts calling people out. He starts like being boisterous and like completely different energy than what had just happened. And that kind of, I think he was just trying to set the tone because it's really easy. I think like he got fired and it's really easy to kind of go, oh damn, he got fired, our season's over type thing. And he just tried to come in and bring it basically.
And you liked that? I take it.
Everybody liked it.
Okay.
Everybody, we needed it.
Yeah, love that.
He's a really good leader.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that was going to be my question. Was,
Okay.
Like, that fire was lit. Going into the practices leading up to that Oklahoma game, did practices feel different?
For sure.
Was game prep that much different than what you guys were already doing?
That week wasn't that much different because they only had a few days.
Mhm.
But then the following week was a bye week, and they completely changed everything.
Wow.
Like they put in a whole new defense, whole new way of practicing, and it ended up not being that much different towards the end of the year because you can't put in a whole new
overhaul.
mid-season.
Yeah,
but they tried. Like they really tried. Like they tried to do a whole new thing, and they put in as much as they possibly could in that bye week.
Well, and your guys' defense had improved drastically,
Yeah, it did
by the end of
drastically
the year. So
It did drastically improve. Yeah, especially like I noticed the first few games it drastically improved because we were doing something that nobody had ever seen before. So they didn't know how to do. They didn't know how to do anything against it. But
Right.
I think we won the next two games. Like we won.
Yeah, it was,
Indiana and Rutgers. We
yep.
won those two games, which was big, just for the overall. Like we needed some wins. Bad.
Yeah.
And to win those games, and I think a lot of it was because we were just doing something different that nobody had ever seen before.
yeah, and I just want to point out real quick, after the Indiana and Rutgers game, I'm a video guy, I'm a videographer. And the media team put together like the hype reel, right? It was like, we are back. Like we are, we got new leadership. We won 2 games. Like it was kind of like this hopeful thing. I think the song was called like Blood Runs Red or something like that. But that's like my favorite video of all time they've ever put out.
People were hyping that up too. And I remember after Indiana, I did a press conference the next Monday, I think, because I had blocked that punt. So they brought me in for a press conference. And I had like a couple questions asking me like, hey, we're tied for first in the Big Ten. And everybody was like, we're tied for first in the Big Ten. Like, let's go. Everybody hyping it up like, hey, we're going to win the Big Ten.
Right.
And then we ended up not doing good. But Yeah, that was a whole storm that was happening. Yeah.
Right.
So you mentioned in those couple of weeks that initially there was this big shift in like how the defense was run. Ultimately, it doesn't end up that different. Do you think in that shift where, there's this, albeit at the end of the season, like a small difference, were you more comfortable playing in that system? Is that what kind of created a little bit of change for you guys? Or was it just kind of working out some kinks?
Was it like Bill Bush, just kind of like?
I think it was just they came in, and I think it was just something new. I think it was just something different. I think the old had gotten stale because they had been there, I don't know, I think it was 4.5 years at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So it had gotten stale, and I think people were just clamoring for something new. And when something new came, people grasped onto it, and it was people were a lot more energetic, a lot more excited about it, focused, dialed in, I think.
Yeah, because I think the narrative was once Chins had left and Bill Bush took over, it was like, yeah, he like dumbified it. He made it super simple. And like, that's why you
simplified it.
Yeah. Like that's why we're seing all these big time results. Is there any truth to that? Like, was it something like just a crazy drastic, just they made it super simple?
Yeah. And we were doing with Chins, we were running more 4-man fronts almost exclusively, especially against 3 receivers, 1 running back, 1 tight end, which is what most teams run. We were running mostly 4-man fronts, and they came in and they were like, "We're going to run 5-man fronts. Like we're going to have a nose guard that's right over the center, and we're going to run a 5-man front." And so they completely changed the way the offense had to block against it. They completely changed a lot of the coverages that we were doing, and ended up towards the end of the season kind of going back to what Chins was doing because we kind of had to a little bit because you can only put in so much.
Right.
Yeah.
But the fact that we were doing something different kind of caught teams off guard, I think.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you talked about, Mickey came in, lit a fire a little bit, towards the end of the season, we were kind of teetering where it's like, are we going to make a bowl? Are we not going to make a bowl? Was the locker room like fully set, like Mickey's our guy kind of thing?
Yes.
Yeah.
No question.
Everybody. It felt that way too, because I think a lot of the Husker fans felt the same way too. And obviously things, took a different turn and whatever. And Mickey just got his opportunity. So, shout out to him and his family.
Shout out to Mickey.
So I'm friends with his son. So,
yeah, that is such an interesting topic just to like get your opinion on, because the fan base was totally torn. It was like, do we go with another head coach that hasn't had any like experience in this role? Or do we go out and we try to find somebody? And I say we're just speculating, right? But like
fans are part of the team.
Yeah. All right. That's right. But like that was just I know the 4 of us were torn on it. Like some of us were like, yeah, Mickey, we can give him a shot if nothing else pops up. And then people are throwing out different names and this guy. Like were you guys fully ready to just go full steam ahead for his like second year?
People wanted Mickey.
Yeah.
Like no questions asked. People wanted him.
Interesting.
I feel like there's this school where like coaches can be CEOs or leaders. And I feel like, and it sounds like what you're saying is Mickey was a leader. Like he wasn't there to be a CEO. Like he was a man of the people.
Super personable, and he made a real effort, even when he wasn't head coach, even in the summer and in spring ball and in camp, he made a real effort to get to know every person on the team. Like he would come up and talk to people, and he had relationships with every person on the team, like down to a man, like down to even like the freshmen that weren't playing. Like he would go up and talk to him.
Yeah. So another thing that was kind of speculated in that era was that when Mickey showed up, there was some sort of like rift between like Whipple and Mickey and kind of how people were running things. I mean, is there anything that you can shed light on? Just because I don't feel like we've never gotten clarification. I think we've ever really talked about it with anybody.
We haven't really had a lot of Frost guys on, honestly. We had Isaiah Harris on, and we had, what else do we have from the, we've had I think a couple, but I just can't remember. Like there was nothing really like us.
Hey, if more people from that era want to come on,
yeah.
We welcome you.
I know we had a couple guys.
We had Tanner Farmer on.
Yeah, we had Tanner. Yeah, that was a fun.
But he wasn't there at the end.
No, he was there at the beginning. Yeah.
So I guess
Chris was even there then.
Yeah.
So
I guess just like my question is just like it just sounded like there was like rumors coming out talking about like rifts between coaching personalities and like I don't know. I don't know if there's any truth to that.
There was things going on for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know any. If I did know specifics, I probably wouldn't go talk about it.
Yeah.
I really don't know a ton of specifics, to be honest. but there was definitely things going on where people had different opinions on how to run things.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Because of the lack of success. And that happens in any program, in any situation, any team that you have a sustained lack of success where things are not going well. People are going to have different opinions on how to do things.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do it this way. It'll work.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of, when you have a guy like Matt Rule, he succeeds Frost and then Mickey. He brings on people that he's familiar with. And some of the hires you understand. And some are like, you kind of have to talk yourself into it a little bit. And it's a slippery slope where you start talking about, okay, different opinions.
To me, with him, it was like what I saw him doing and what I saw Mickey do too is we're going to do this my way. Like, I'm not listening to what a fan has to say or a booster has to say or a player has to say. Like, I'm doing this my way and I'm the leader and you guys are going to follow me and we're going to all we're going to all be on the same track because like you were saying, there was dissension. And there was people going in different directions and pulling things in different directions. And when I think the new guys came in, it was like, we need to go in the same direction and we all need to go be on the same path here.
Right. As a player, I have to imagine that kind of just definitive leadership it just produces results in the locker room. Right?
I think it's the only way you can do it. Yeah. Because it's such a big team where you have to have a guy that's the figurehead of things, basically.
I mean, it's not only a big team with a lot of kids on the roster. A guest that we've had on before, Damon Benning, he always talks about people, especially that age, they just want to be led. Just lead them down the right path, and they want that guidance. They want that structure.
Especially the younger kids. I was at the point, I was a sixth year that last year. And so I was not in that type of situation. I have my own opinions, to be honest. But yes, the younger kids especially, and even me to a point where even our older guys, where you're on a team and you want a strong leader who's coming in, who's coming in with a plan. He's coming in confident, like he knows what he's doing. You want somebody to lead you and take you where you want to go.
Do we have any comments or anything like that? Or
we had a couple in here.
Okay. If not, it's cool. I just want to know.
Let's see. I guess Josh said, "Is there anything that really sticks out to you that Frost and his staff did really well?" And then maybe you can go on the flip side of that too. Like, we're talking about some of the stuff Mickey did, but is there anything? I guess if you compare the two, is there anything that like you preferred in the coaching style versus maybe one way or the other, or maybe you were just like once that Band-Aid was ripped off, you're like, all right, like full, let's go all Mickey. Don't worry about it, like whatever. But was there anything that like you really liked about like the staff before it all got shaken up?
That's a good question. It's hard to say for me, because they were really, really different. I personally really brought that strong leadership and a lot of energy every day.
Yeah, brought the juice.
He brought that juice every day. I personally liked. Yeah.
Well, and I think we sit here that turn disillusioned with Scott, just of course with the lack of results, and then you got the stories that kind of come out once the firing happens, and a little bit before that too is just like the different stories you would hear, and so it is understandable that by the end of that, almost going into the fifth year, the dude's beaten down, and the things were not going how we all thought they would.
To that actually, and I honestly really would never speak bad on Scott Frost. Sorry, I should have bleeped that.
You're good, man. You're good. Like that was your coach,
you get
man.
A pass.
I actually would not speak badly, and I don't when people ask me. He offered me a scholarship, brought me in, gave me an opportunity. I won't speak badly on him. And I think by the end, I think it was a little bit of like, man, what do I do? Because he wanted to succeed just as bad as the rest of everybody, if not more, because this is his home. Like, he was a quarterback here. He's a legend here. He wanted to succeed. He wanted to do well. But I think by that fifth year, he's kind of looking around and he's thinking, what do I do?
Yeah.
He's kind of tried everything that he knows what to do. And he's in a situation where maybe he's even burnt out he's tried everything, it feels like.
Yeah. So, I mean, and you're not having the success. And as we know, recruiting goes on all year long. You're recruiting the guys in your locker room from the transfer portal. So like you've just got things like compounding on top of each other. Like it's not going well. You're getting criticized. Like yeah, it's just
and he's probably at that point. He's a inexperienced-ish head coach.
Yeah,
he only had one other job, and he's probably at that point. I imagine starting to question.
Like, should I have left?
Should I have left?
Yeah.
Or starting to question his methods, like starting to question how he does things, what defense he runs, what offense. He's starting to take into account all the critics that are trying to tell him how to run the team.
Yeah.
But I think as a head coach, like what I mentioned with Rule and Mickey, they came in and they're like, all right, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing. This is the plan. We're going to stick to it. Whereas I think you have a lot of not so successful years and you got a lot of people telling you, here's what we need to be doing. You're going to start switching up your methods that you know. And then it starts to become real gray of how do I lead this team? And then you start to get real burnt out because you tried everything, it feels like. And he wanted to succeed, and he did everything he could to succeed. I think he did probably get tired and didn't know what to do at the end.
For sure.
So I want to ask something, and I'm taking a direction that we don't often take on this podcast. I'm going to say it with Coach Scott Frost. What was something you thought he did very well while you were playing under Coach Frost? What was something that he really excelled at that you can talk about?
What was something that he really excelled at? Man, that's a good question. I'd never actually thought about that before. I think that he really understood how to be a player, because he had been a really, really good player and received a lot of attention. So I think he really understood how to teach guys how to be a player. Really understood how players are supposed to act and how we're supposed to prepare. And he understood how to teach how to be a good player, I think. I think overall, big picture, I don't think he had enough experience to manage the whole thing big picture, but he really got how to be a player.
Yeah, I mean, and you're coaching across from Jim Harbaugh, Ryan Day, like Mel Tucker at that point was killing it in the transfer portal and doing really well. Like you're coaching against some of the best coaches in college football, and if this is your first big time thing and all these expectations and all these crazy things are going on, like I can only imagine.
I think if the Big Ten has proven anything, it's like, do they get? I mean, Michigan and Ohio State, of course. But like, they're not in the top 10 of recruiting these Big Ten teams besides those two. And I think especially coaching in the Big Ten it's so much better than it is in the SEC, where again, I'm going to say you throw a rock and you hit a 5-star in the head and go, hey, come play for me. And they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Whereas in the Big Ten, like you got to be able to recruit and you got to be able to coach these not as talented players. Of course, you guys are still talented, obviously.
And I think you have to be able to develop.
Yes, that's the key.
You got to have the big D.
Yeah. Wait, what's so funny? What?
Yeah, what's weird about me saying you got to have the big D?
Chris, get it together, man.
No, I think you got to be able to take these players who come in, like you said, looking for leadership, looking for somebody to teach them how to be a good football player and teach them how to be good. I think that's huge, because you're not getting those 5-star players.
Right.
Rarely you're getting those 5-star players that are going to come in and be ready to play immediately. So you have to take these really like these 17, 18-year-old kids and develop them and teach them how to play.
You're getting gritty guys from Northern Iowa that are just hungry for an opportunity.
Or the Nebraska kids. All the
kids from small town Nebraska that are walking on and just want an opportunity.
The lifeblood of the program, and I don't think that's ever going to change.
Gym rats.
Yeah, go into that a little bit, Chris. So the walk-on program, it's gotten very interesting now with NIL and the collectives and everything else. They have to limit how many walk-ons they have now. And obviously Nebraska traditionally has been known for the walk-on program. But talk about your time at Nebraska and, some of the walk-ons that you've seen, or if you think of any like walk-on experiences that you had where it's like a guy chose to come here from small town USA, Nebraska, to play for his hometown team.
Yeah, there's a few of them, and I don't think that's ever going to go away completely in Nebraska, but it's definitely changing because of the portal and because of everything that's going on. I think it is a little bit different. You kind of do have to come in a little more ready to play, because you're not going to get the reps and you're not going to get the experience that you would get in the past where they're really developing guys. But I don't think it's ever going to go away because good talent gets overlooked in high school. And especially if you're from a smaller town and you didn't play against good competition growing up, you could be a really good athlete and then come in and they see you play and they say, oh, you can really play. And you just didn't, we might have overlooked you and not given you a scholarship, but I'm glad we brought you in as a walk-on. And there's a lot of guys like that.
Yeah.
Did you guys have any, like, did you want?
I mean, I just think when it comes to like the walk-on program, I think you're going to see it change a lot with NIL, just because like you can say, oh, this is a walk-on guy, but realistically, we're giving him NIL money.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
A lot.
Sure. And so it's like, these aren't like, these, it's starting to turn into you're taking your 3-star players, some of these bigger programs, you're taking your 3-star players and you're giving them money in a walk-on spot. And then, it's not like these guys that just have no offers or anything like that. It's starting to turn into like you're recruiting these kids that you would in the past maybe put them on scholarship, and now you're just giving them a walk-on spot and some NIL money.
It helps to have money as a program right now because you can give walk-on. Like you can say to a walk-on, which they're doing, we are going to give you a scholarship, but we're not going to give you a scholarship.
Right.
We'll give you money that's going to cover the cost of your tuition and the room and board.
Right.
Yeah.
Jerky money.
So I guess you played college football with NIL being a thing. How was NIL at Nebraska?
I mean, back then, wasn't it just like runs of tweets and like?
Yeah, basically it was very weird. It became a thing while I was there. Nobody really knew what was going on. Like people were putting out random tweets and random stuff. You get paid a little bit here and there. There was a collective where we would get $2-3 grand here and there.
That's nice.
It was still kind of innocent when you were.
Yeah,
when
it
you
was
were
innocent.
Yeah.
To be honest,
it was very naive.
In my eyes, how the NIL is going and how it was too is like top 5 guys are getting paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
And outside of that, it's not.
Casey Thompson's getting paid.
The top 5 guys are getting paid.
Yeah.
And outside of that, it's a good transfer is getting paid.
Yeah.
If you're a really high rated transfer, or you're a really high rated recruit, or you're one of the top few guys on the team, you're getting paid. Like you're getting cars, you're getting stuff.
If you're Dylan Raiola, you're getting
paid.
Yeah.
But the rest of the people, it's really not that much different. Like you might get thrown a couple G's here and there, but you're not getting really bags.
Right.
Yeah.
So
McDonald's bags.
Yeah.
Runs of bags.
Runs of bags.
I think a lot of people have like a very drastic misunderstanding of NIL. And so you talk about, the top 5 players are really getting those bags. And a lot of people look at it as like, oh, this has to be, creating a rift in the locker room. That I can't imagine that was really a factor as a player, was it? Or was it just kind of like, I'm here to do my job, and if it comes, it comes?
I think there's something to that. I think there's something to that. It creates a rift. I don't know how tangible it is, but when you have a guy that's making 6 figures and he's living in a penthouse and you got walk-ons that he's playing with or whatever, it does probably create a little bit of not tension, but it's just a little bit of difference. And especially I think the guy that's getting paid, if you're getting paid, the fans want to see him on the field. The coaches are giving him money. So they want to see him on, the boosters want to
see you out there.
They're in the coach's ear saying, hey, why is the guy that I'm giving my money to not on the field?
Right.
So there's going to be that little rift there. And I think that's inevitable.
Yeah. And that guy that quarterback that's living in the penthouse, he better be getting his linemen some iPads.
Right.
Steak dinners every freaking Friday night or something.
Hey, and those linebackers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Those linebackers better
you
be
got to
getting
take
some
care
too.
of your LBs, man. I'm just saying.
Hey, so speaking of, a quarterback living in a penthouse, getting paid, I'm not going to say how much because we don't know. I'm very, for the past couple of weeks, we've had this discussion about the quarterback depth at Nebraska, how they only have 3 guys on scholarship right now, which I think is the lowest it's ever been. And so we get thinking very, defeatist, fatalistic, if you will. We get thinking like, what if our boy Dylan goes down with an injury, right? And so just kind of thinking right now, spring practice going to be starting up in the next couple of weeks. Like, how are they going to handle Dylan Raiola during spring practice? Like, a lot of contact. The guy he's a true freshman. He's got to be able to.
They don't do contact for quarterbacks. It's not a thing. Nobody does.
Okay.
It's not a thing.
Okay.
They're going to get as many reps as possible, I think. And they'll get him as many reps as possible and then throw him into the games and get him reps in the games and try to get him experience as fast as possible.
So first game for Nebraska, who's starting next year? Is that a no-brainer?
I don't have any information.
Well, I know you've been in a different country.
I don't have any tangible information on the subject. I don't know. I haven't talked to anybody. I don't know.
Just as a person, what do you
guess? If I had to guess, I'd say it'd be the number one quarterback recruit in the country.
That would
make sense.
I was looking at him like, just say it.
Just say it.
Dude,
say his name. Say.
I mean, I think you got to get him out there because I think you got to get him experience, even if he crashes and burns the first couple games or first year, because you have to get him that experience.
Ride or die.
I think you, as fans, whoever's listening, you got to be a little patient with him, even though he is the number one recruit. I think you do have to let him get experience because he is a kid, and even though he probably honestly is ready for it, you have to let him get experience because he's a kid playing against grown men.
Okay.
On national TV, and I think him getting experience is going to help him a lot.
That brings me to a good question, and I want your opinion on this. So this past week, Trev Alberts came on and said, I support Matt Rule and his decision to take it easier on non-conference scheduling. So we have future games with teams like Tennessee and some other big name Power 5 schools.
Northern Iowa.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and that's not taking it easy.
And that's not taking it easy. But my opinion, you just said Dylan Raiola. He's gonna take some games to he's gonna have to get his feet wet. Essentially, are you good with the easier route of non-conference scheduling? Like, do you think we should be scheduling FCS schools and mid majors?
I do.
Or do you think we should be scheduling the Power 5 big dogs?
I think you should be scheduling mid majors because the Big Ten's about to be a gauntlet.
9 games.
It's about to be an absolute gauntlet.
Yeah.
Like, look at the schedule 2 or 3 years from now. It's a gauntlet. It's brutal.
Look next year. Shit. USC, UCLA, Ohio State.
Exactly. It's a gauntlet. And I think in the past, it might not have been so much of a gauntlet, and you had to schedule teams that were really good in the beginning of the year to prove yourself and to get that strength of schedule and that resume. But now you're playing such good teams the entire year that you get it naturally.
Okay. I got to know. I want to know your opinion on, and this is all along the topic, right? But starting off, like, you had to go to Ireland and play Northwestern for your first game. Does that set a tone when you drop a game like that for the first game of the season? It's a long travel, and now you've just you lost the game, and now you're like
0-1 in the conference.
Now we're going to Oklahoma. Like,
not only did it set the tone, I mean, it was a whole lot of factors going into one. It was the fact that Scott Frost had everybody knew he was on the hot seat. Everybody in the locker room knew. Everybody in Ireland knew. Everybody in America knew that he was on the hot seat. It was just a thing. And everybody kind of knew after that game, like, okay, it's probably about up here. And it was. And so it does, even if he wasn't there, it would have set the tone.
Right.
But yeah, to drop a game like that where then Northwestern goes on and doesn't win a game the rest of the season.
That sucked.
Like, you go see them. We were just score watching and seeing them losing to FCS team and then losing to Duke, and it was tough.
That's probably a lot of like mental games too, like with yourself.
And you're on the. I mean, I don't know how long the plane ride was, like 8 hours or something, and you're on the plane thinking, how do we come back from this? Like, where do we go from here? And I'm sure everybody on the plane was thinking the same way. Where do we go from here? How do you bounce back from this? And it was hard to bounce back.
Yeah, it just seems like the last 5 years, it's just been starting the season off just on a terrible trajectory. Last year was Minnesota. You lose that game, don't make a bowl game.
Well, stop scheduling conference opponents for your first game.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Give us some Illinois tailgates in the 100-degree weather, and they end up freaking losing.
Yeah, I did that. That shit was.
I don't think it really ends up at the end of the day having that massive of an impact.
Okay.
Because if the team's losing, that means the team's not that good.
Right.
To be honest, like, if the team's losing to a 1-11 Northwestern team, that means the team wasn't that good to begin with. So you're probably not winning that many games anyway.
Right.
Whether you win that game or not.
Gotcha.
So just be frank, but it does definitely set a tone of, man, we're 0-1. It'd be nice to be 1-0.
Right.
Nice to be on a little roll here, have some momentum.
Right.
So to kind of piggyback on that, like us, like, again, we're fans. You can look at us and like see we're not athletes.
Dude, don't I look like a
speak
D1
for
athlete?
yourself, brother. I do CrossFit now.
But so, like, we always like to talk about is, like, you don't think about the last week, you think about the next game. How difficult is that to just, you don't think about last week, you think about the next. Is that something that's just, you just flip a switch? Like, I can't imagine it's quite that easy.
It's kind of impossible, especially, we talked about it a little bit already, but when you got kids, it's almost impossible. Like NFL, I think it's a little different where they're grown men and they've been playing football and they're 30 years old and they've been through enough losses and heartbreakers where they can flip the switch and go to the next game. But when you got kids who, college football is really emotional because these kids, it's super emotional, and the lows and highs are very, very low and high. It's depths and mountains. And I think with kids, it's really hard to get out of those depths when you fall that low.
When you have that familiar feeling too, like close losses and stuff.
Exactly.
Like we've been here before. Now I'm gonna clinch up a little bit. I'm gonna do something like I'm not thinking of doing my job, because now I'm thinking about last week or 2 weeks ago when I was in the same scenario and I messed it up or something.
And it's the players in that program too had been through that so many times and had hardly ever really come out positively after something like that had happened.
Yeah.
It's always ended up being negative, and that becomes like this pattern of how do we get out of this?
See, and that's the thing, right? Like, as fans, right? We've sat here how many years in a row, L after L. And it's really easy for us, right? If we're in the stands and we're beating Iowa by a few touchdowns, they block our punt and game's over, even though we're still winning, right? And I'm just saying, as fans, it's so easy for us to say that. And then to have you, a player, it's like,
what are you thinking?
It's just it's so easy for us to say that, right?
There is a feel.
Is that
there
true?
Is a feel on the sideline of there is like
here we go again.
There's a very deflated feeling.
Yeah.
Was there someone on the sideline at that time that like really tried to get you going, or maybe succeeded in saying, "Hey, I know you feel like this"?
That was what Mickey did. That was what I was saying.
Yeah.
That was Mickey. That was what Mickey did. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm just to hear an actual player, not just us bullshitting and saying
that was real. That was real for sure.
Right.
Especially the year before when we lost all those close games.
Yeah.
That were
right.
Like the 2021 season it was. Yeah, where it was all those like we were the best 3-9 team.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is insulting, by the way. I hope you took that as an insult.
For sure, insulting. 3-9.
Right.
But yeah, it was definitely a thing, and it was consistent in a lot of those games where something would happen and it would be like completely deflated because we know where this is going, even though we're still up a touchdown. Like scoreboard says we're winning this game, but like on the sideline, there's this deflated feeling. And then I think Mickey kind of brought in this new energy to it.
Yeah. I think the best way, if you ever talk to a fan, the best way anybody describes it is it literally feels like the air just gets sucked out of the stadium.
Deflated.
It does.
Deflated is the best word for it, for sure.
As someone who's been in the stadium for those close losses, like I seriously thought I was the only person in the stadium that felt that way, but the guys on the sideline feel the same way. So
I think he goes to game. He goes to game.
Season tickets. Right?
Mike, do you have season tickets?
Wow, who told you that?
It's just so funny because I also have season tickets, but it's just funny.
I'm just saying, like,
it is.
Jared, this isn't about
when
you.
you're in the stands as a fan, you just think, okay, like they'll figure it out.
I think it is. I think there's something to be said about it. Is super emotional for everybody on the field and in the stadium, and we all feel the same things. We're all trying to win, and when something goes wrong, we all feel the same thing. So, I think too that fans exaggerate that. They amplify it.
Sure, yes, so and they make it worse on the players.
Make it worse. So when it's good, it's great. When it's going good, it's going great.
And when it's bad,
it's bad. It's
the worst thing ever.
It's accelerating it into the ground.
Yes. So, like booing players, doing stupid shit like that. Like what? We don't need to get on that, but Jesus,
Mike's up there.
Yeah, right.
As a player on that sideline, and this is like kind of a thin line here. Was it more like despair or frustration?
Frustration.
Yeah.
There was I don't think despair ever really set in. Maybe that Georgia Southern game where we hit despair, and maybe that Oklahoma game after where we got spanked. But I don't think despair was a big factor in. I think it was like, what?
I don't see them like stomping their feet when they get back in the locker room.
It was just like you knew you were capable of winning these games.
Yes.
And it just wasn't happening.
Look, these past like 20 minutes, right? We've been waxing poetic on the tragedy.
Yeah.
It's like, Chris, you walk away from your Husker career, you go play CFL, all that. But when you look back, what's the good memory that you're holding on to? I mean, have we already talked about it?
The interception.
Right.
I'd say we got it. Like the interception is, for sure,
Okay.
good memory, but just a lot of good humans, a lot of good people that I met through the sport, on my team, off the team, just a lot of good people, and getting to play in Memorial Stadium, crazy, amazing place to play in front of the best fans in the country.
Would love that.
Yeah.
Better than Michigan.
Yeah.
Better than Michigan.
I love
Better
that.
fans than Michigan. That would be the memory. Just all of it together. Just the
Yeah.
experience.
Okay, now speaking of memories, I've just got one more question because we got to wrap up here. Will Compton posted the other day. He said that at one point they were sitting in the locker room and somebody got their teeth knocked out over a bag of Jimmy John's salt and vinegar chips. I just want to know. You don't have to drop names. You don't have to do anything like that unless you want to.
Please do.
You have any memorable moments in the locker room? Fights, anything like any good stories that we might want to share?
In the locker room, I don't have a ton. There wasn't a ton of that type of fighting in the locker room, if I remember right. I'll tell one.
All right.
Oh.
Me and Gabe Urban were pretty close.
Okay.
We were, that was my guy. Spent a good amount of time with him off the field. And I want to say it was both of our first camps there. And I was going on the sideline in a scrimmage, and I'm going to tag off on him, and he just lowers his shoulder. And he goes, and I kind of get knocked back, and I'm feeling like, oh, I just got hit.
Yeah.
So I'm mad. So I just started going at him, throwing. I was throwing punches at him. I'm getting after him, like pushing him, like what are you doing? And then they had a video guy like pretty much 5 feet away.
Do you have his email? Can we get this video?
Yeah. So they deleted the video, but they said before we delete the video, we're gonna go to this team meeting and we're gonna put up the video. In front of everybody. So they played this video and everybody's the camera's 5 feet away. So it's like we started it, and then probably the whole team came in. Somebody came and tackled me, got on top of Gabe. Yeah, it was a whole thing.
Damn.
That was just one that was one of my. I don't remember a ton of like fights in the locker room.
Well,
I remember a few things like that on the field.
Yeah, but the Gabe Irwin thing, what makes it worse is that your dude. And
it's your boy.
Man, fuck you, like, what the hell?
But wait, that really is my
Right?
guy.
That
Like,
was-
shout out to Gabe. That's my guy. And
Hey.
he's going to have a great year this year. I love his ass.
Would you say you won though?
Would I say I won?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, I think that's a perfect way to close that.
No, okay, yeah.
What? No, what?
No, that was good. That was good.
Okay.
That was great.
Well, you were
I
like,
think-
no.
No, I think this is a good opportunity. Chris, you're getting into a new career. You hung up the cleats. You're getting into a new career. So tell the listeners what you're doing now. What if they're interested in maybe purchasing something from you, whatever, and it's not drugs.
It's not drugs.
Talk about what you're
Not a
doing
TV and not drugs.
now. Not TV. We got him on the podcast with the TV.
He kept his TV. No TV. Maybe drugs.
Or
Where
whatever.
did drugs
I don't know.
come from?
Glenn said he's going to sell you to go on.
Jesus.
I like when Mike does that.
I don't think you're selling drugs.
I'm not selling drugs.
I didn't
I
think
don't
so.
really-
He is on record.
I'm not selling drugs. I don't really have anything to sell specifically, but what I will say that I'm doing, I'm working with a company called Noddle Development Companies. They're a commercial real estate company, and I'm going to be doing leasing deals, buying, selling land, buildings, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited about it. I'm just getting into it, and I've been doing it for about a month now, and I'm enjoying it.
Very cool.
So where can people find you if you'd like them to find you?
Talking about my phone number or physically?
I mean, no.
We don't need your phone number.
Social
Address.
media.
Social media.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, you can just look up my name on any social media. My name will pop up on social media.
All right.
Yeah, DM me, whatever.
Not too many
they're
Chris
open.
Kolarevics out there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as long as you know how to spell my name, you'll
That's
find me.
tricky. The last name's
Hey,
tricky.
As long as you can figure out how to spell Kolarevic, Kolarevic. As long as you can spell that, that's how you find me on social media.
Here's
And
the
just
trick.
check out Marketplace.
Yeah, here's the trick.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're listening to this episode, just look in the description. You can spell his name.
Yeah, just copy and paste, and you'll find it, and you
So-
can get some deal on some land because he's going to hook you
There you
up.
go.
You're doing like commercial real estate, you
Commercial
said?
real estate, yeah.
So is there any like specific type, or is it just total commercial?
It's a little bit of office buildings and a little bit of retail and restaurants.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So a lot of what I'm doing right now is I'm going to be leasing buildings out to people.
Hell yeah.
We love
Podcast
that.
studios?
Maybe podcast studios.
Maybe podcast studio. We do have some buildings that we are open to leasing.
Yeah.
Hey, we know a
For
podcast.
free.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah. How bad you want it?
Okay, guys, what do you say? Go follow us at NBNR Podcast.
Yeah, follow them. Great stuff.
Please.
This was a blast.
Thank you.
We had
Yeah, we-
actual fun.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you,
appreciate it.
I
Chris.
think sometimes podcasts can be forced. This
Yeah.
did not feel forced at all. I had a blast.
Yeah,
And
thanks for being
come
here.
check them out.
Compared to Chancellor Brewington.
Chancellor
Ours was
Brewington.
Hey, no, we need to get
Yeah,
Chance in
I had a
here.
blast on there too. Chance, you
Yeah.
should come on here if you're watching.
Yeah,
Definitely
no,
should come
we need
on.
to get Chance next time he's
Sure.
in the area. Get him in here because his
Have you
dad
guys
told
talked
me.
to
he
him?
would. Well, I mean, we could probably do it virtual, but he's not. He doesn't like. We
He's
like
in
to do it
Lincoln.
every.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's in Lincoln.
Oh, is he in Lincoln now?
Yeah, well, he's got a podcast in Lincoln. He
Oh,
does
okay,
the
okay.
ticket. You know the ticket?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He works for.
He's got his own show.
Okay.
That's where I went on.
Okay. Well, then
That's right.
we're gonna have to reach out. I'm
Reach
gonna
out.
text his dad.
Yeah.
I'm gonna text his dad and say you have to go on. No, you can text him for us.
Yeah. All right, guys. Hey, we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the same handle, NBNR Podcast. NBNRpodcast.com. We got merch.
Yeah, fresh merch coming out. Some
Hats.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
new baseball merch coming.
baseball merch coming.
Ooh.
GBR.
BI.
BI.
Yeah.
So look out for that. Hey, baseball's doing very well. We're looking to cash in on that. Because this
Yeah.
is when the casual fan might start paying attention. Unlike us, where we pay attention constantly. And
Yeah.
sometimes it hurts.
Yeah,
Jared.
don't do what we do.
Yeah.
Anyway. Sign off.
Yep.
Let's do it.
All right. I'm one of your hosts, Jared Hall.
Mike Delaware.
Kyle Byers.
Connor Cadillac.
Chris Kolarevic, go Big Red.
As always. Beat Indiana, maybe, whoever they're playing, in GBR.